Today, we're going to be having a very honest chat about the current state of Marvel Contest of Champions in 2019. We're going to be talking about some of the biggest pros, stuff that is improved in the game, stuff that is really quite good currently in Marvel Contest of Champions. Some of the neutral facts about the game, so stuff that you should know if you're wondering whether or not to play it, and kind of important information. And some of the cons, some of the downsides, the negatives about Marvel Contest of Champions that if you want to get involved in this game, you should probably be aware of, and just kind of my very honest perspective as well about how to kind of enjoy Marvel Contest of Champions to its fullest potential. But again, this does vary from person to person, and again, all of this stuff is going to be based off, it's a mixture of facts and also my personal opinion when it does come to, certain caveats of this. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's start off by talking about the pros, the really good stuff about Marvel Contest of Champions. So the first thing is the game has been out for over 4 years now. It's been out for a very long time, and as a result of this, it's benefited tremendously because it just keeps on growing and growing. It's got a ton of content, so if you start playing the game now, you've got like so much to play through, but also you've got 140 or so playable characters as well. So there are so many different champions in the game. It's really big. There's been a lot of time developing this game, so it's absolutely mad there. Now, next up, you'll kind of be very aware of this if you played Marvel Contest of Champions a couple of years ago, but in comparison to then, even in comparison to like the start of last year, 4 and 5 star champions are so much easier to get nowadays. We have so many little bonus events and challenges and stuff that comes up. Currently we've got this insane Deadpool event going on, which just gives you a really good chance at a lot of 4-star champions and a few 5-star characters as well, and that's really accessible even for some of the lower tier players as well. So yeah, 4 and 5-star champions in comparison to a couple of years ago, man, dropping like absolute candy at the moment. And in terms of how relevant those characters still are, 4-star champions can still clear like 90% of all the game's content. You have use for 4-star champions throughout stuff like Act 5, Variant, like they go a really long way. And also with the new Alliance quest structure that we saw introduced last year, there's been this kind of brand new system called Glory and Currency, and a brand new store called the Glory Store. So it's actually also never been easier to acquire rank up resources and the kind of specific ones that you need to take up certain champions. So yeah, those are just kind of massive pros for beginner and also progressing players as well. Also, as a game overall, Marvel Contest of Champions does a really good job at providing a lot of regular updates. I come from like a background where I've spent a lot of time playing World of Warcraft, Rift, Arcane, WildStar, like a lot of big MMORPGs, and it was very rare in those games to get kind of a good update like every 3 to 6 months depending on the game, whereas Marvel Contest of Champions is very consistent. Every single month they will have a large update, and usually there's a bit of content kind of spread throughout the month as well. So you're gonna have stuff like a new quest every single month, challenges, there's usually like login calendars, dungeons, events, and also 2 new champions every single month, which equates to like roughly 1 new character every 2 weeks is kind of the standard release schedule. There's only been interrupted a couple of times, but one of the cons as well, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is champions that are brand new, they take a while to become a little bit available to the wider majority of the community there. Also, another massive pro is that champions are being buffed more frequently than ever before. So to give you an example, and this one is absolutely amazing, we've actually had more champion indirect and direct champion buffs in the last 12 months than the previous 3 years of the game. So in the last 12 months of the game, we've seen like 6 full reworks for like Luke Cage, Red Hulk, Carnage, Venom, Spider-Gwen, She-Hulk, but also via the new kind of unique synergy system. There have been a lot of very powerful synergies. Like to name, a couple, we've got the Winter Soldier one, which took him from being an absolute dud to an absolute unit, and like the Ant-Man synergy is absolutely nuts. But there have been so many indirect synergy buffs for all sorts of characters to make them, considerably more viable. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. They're getting, you know, a little bit more on the ball, but again, with a game of 140 champions, there are some characters that are still a little bit left behind, and we're going to talk about those in a little bit as well. Now, the next thing is, once you get good knowledge of the combat in MCOC, it's so fun. It's so satisfying to pull off, like, crazy combos and tear through all sorts of content and challenges, and I think kind of there is so much really, really good content in Marvel Contest of Champions. There's definitely, like, a little bit of content that is, like, a little bit BS, a little bit rubbish, though. There's stuff, you know, like the collector fight and a few other examples, that we've seen recently and in the past, where it's a little bit iffy, it's just a little bit rubbish in some scenarios, but overall the majority of content that the game puts out is really, really fun and does have, you know, a fair amount of counters and solutions and clever ways that you can play around all sorts of mechanics. So yeah, it can be bloody satisfying there. And also, Marvel Contest of Champions and the Marvel Cinematic Universe are making bank, so there's a very small chance of the game shutting down anytime soon, and the community has grown exponentially over the last 2 years, mainly due to the success of the MCU, in-game improvements, and people generally having better phones. So there are so many reasons that attribute to the success of Marvel Contest of Champions, but to give you an example, like last Cyber Monday, so Cyber Monday is probably one of the biggest financial days of the year for the game because they put out like a ton of offers. The game made 3.3 million in a single day. Absolutely crazy. This game is making somewhere, I think, in the region of about 20 to 50 million, maybe even a little bit more every single month. So this game is making absolute bank. And again, coming from that background of playing MMORPGs, you know, I always got a little bit worried in the past when I was playing games that weren't making bank, because, you know, if games are essentially a business, man, and if they're not making good money, they're going to get the plug pulled. But, you know, it might, you know, give you a bit of peace of mind to know that this game is absolutely killing it, man. Just look at App Annie, look at the charts. They make so much friggin' money. It's absolutely mad. So yeah, that's a little fact to know as well. But then we also have some of the neutral stuff, so this could be good or bad depending on your perspective and ambition within the game. So when it comes to mainly the end game of Marvel Contest of Champions, there is a huge skill and knowledge cap. There is so much to learn about this game, man. It's absolutely insane, and if you don't proactively take the time to learn how to combo properly, parry, evade, and bait specials, you're going to have a very bad time. You're going to get very, very frustrated, and also when it gets deeper into the end game, there's also lots of additional advanced combat tactics like intercepting, heavy countering, dash countering, forcing block, and more. So, you know, if you do have the ambition to get into endgame Marvel Contest of Champions, you will want to take the time and have the time to learn how to play, or you're going to get wrecked. You're going to get ruined. You're going to have a very, very bad time. So that is just, you know, a fact of the game. It is mainly about skill at the end of the game, and skill is such a huge factor. But also there are certain, like, problematic champions that have, like, slightly different ways that you fight them, or all sorts of, like, crazy mechanics. So to give you an example, we have, like, Domino, Iron Man, Infinity War, Korg, Thing, and these champions, if you go in kind of blind to their matchups and don't know how to fight them and can't look up a YouTube video, or don't look up a YouTube video, you're gonna have a very, very bad time as well. So just something to be aware of. The game is very, very complicated. There is so much to learn. Again, 140 champions, so many different game modes, so many different matchups, so keep that in mind there, boys. And also, premium cash conversion currency, so this is units, can be infinitely grinded in Arena, but it's very time consuming. So if you're a free-to-play player, you can grind the premium currency in the game, but again, it's going to eat up a lot of your time if you do this. Obviously, Kabam lean towards, you know, you wanting to actually spend your money on the game and slap it down, but they do not offer great value the majority of the time, which is something we're going to talk about as well. And I think overall, this one is mainly to do with Kabam. I think in comparison, you know, I've been playing this game almost 3 years now, and I think they're getting better at communication, improving the game and community programs like the content creator one, but they still need a bit more of an open and transparent dialogue with the community. So they're getting better, but there's a big room for improvement in terms of Kabam on the community end there. But customer service is you know, from what I see on the forums, Reddit is often lacking for a lot of players. There's not, you know, a huge amount that customer service a lot of the time can do, and they just don't seem overly helpful in a lot of scenarios. So, you know, that's something to potentially bear in mind as well. And then we have the cons of the game, the bad stuff, the roasting, boys. So, the thing to know, man, is that this is it's a whale milking fiesta, lads. It's an absolute whale milking fiesta. If you want to spend cash on this game, it's I would say a good 95% of in-game offers and purchases are incredibly overpriced and represent absolutely terrible value for the consumer, and also as just a kind of pay-to-win factor as well. I do fairly strongly believe the top 0.5% of competitive Alliance War and Alliance Quest is a bit of a pay-to-win or grind your life away clown fiesta. There are people in kind of top 10 alliances like Brian Grant, he's another YouTuber for example, that work very, very hard, grind very, very hard to kind of stay up there, but it's a big commitment, man, especially if you want to get in the top percent. So yeah, you just need to be aware of that. The very, very top is just a bit of a crazy whale milking fiesta there, and you'll also notice yeah, just incredibly overpriced whale milking offers pop up weekly for very small end game advantage, and also if you want to play high level Alliance War and Alliance Quest, this game can be very time consuming day to day and often interrupt social events. And I think this is one, you know, to keep in mind. And again, it's not something, if you're starting playing the game, that you're going to jump into immediately. It's something that you need to be aware of if you have high ambition in the game, that it can be very disruptive, because Alliance Quest and Alliance War, it's one of those things. Alliance Quest specifically has like an 8-day cycle where it's active for 24 hours, like 5 days of the week, and then has like a 3-day break there. But yeah, it can be really, really annoying because you need to move like all throughout the day, and it can just be a pain in the ass if you've got like work or social or other commitments there. So keep that in mind there. Also, Marvel Contest of Champions can be very frustrating if you're having a lot of bad crystal pulls. Sometimes you can open your 4 stars, your 5 stars, your 6 stars, and just get trash champions. Get champions that absolutely suck and doing nothing for your roster at all. So yeah, that can be a bit of a bad time, and not the absolute best time there as well. So, you know, there's still a decent percentage of champions that can be quite disappointing to pull. However, you know, toward the slightly brighter side of this one, this percentage is actually continuing to shrink comparatively as champions, you know, there are 2 factors. Champions are getting buffed, and also most of the new characters that come in, like especially the last, you know, 36 or so months, have been absolute bangers. Such useful characters for so much content. So, you know, that's also it's a little bit of a con, but also a little bit of a pro as well, this point here. So on the up and up, boys, but you know, never sell champions, because one day they could be very, very good. And then what else do we have? So we've got the point about kind of brand new release champions are often very difficult to get, because you can only get them from the new featured arenas, and those have a very, very small amount of players that can get them. But the way that kind of the champion release cycle works in Marvel Contest of Champions is you need to wait like 3.5 months, so I think it's like 10 weeks or something, and then they're added to all of the basic crystal pulls, so you can pull them in like premiums, 4 stars, 5 stars there, or 6 months, you know, after their initial release, there will be a 4-star basic arena where approximately about like 14,000 people per round, and there are 2 rounds, so almost 30,000 people can get that champion as a 4-star basic, and it's a little bit of a grind, but in comparison to previous times, those cutoffs actually have come down quite substantially, because they've expanded the brackets quite a bit. So yeah, you can get brand new champions that are released, but really only like accessible to the majority of people if you want to guarantee that you get them like 6 months after the release. And also we have the point as well about the Marvel Contest of Champions just doesn't perform as well on Android in comparison to iPhone, and the point is, like, you know, Kabam are a business, the majority of spending on mobile games, but very, very specifically Marvel Contest of Champions as well, does come from iPhone users, and the game is much better optimized for the latest iPhone to cater to the biggest percentage of spenders. So be aware that if you are playing this game on an Android, from a business perspective, you are going to be a bit of a second-class class citizen, and that's just the nature of the business. You know, they want to cater to the whales and make sure they prioritize the people that are spending the most money. And if you look at the numbers, the stats, that is by far the iPhone users at the moment. So that's just, you know, one of the things of mobile gaming, man, is not many developers optimize for Android over iPhone. A lot of them really focus on kind of, you know, hashing out all the iPhone issues first. And also some weeks the servers can be proper rubbish. Like a couple of weeks ago there were so many connection issues. I think this last week has been pretty fine, no problems really, but you know, a little bit all over the place with the servers in Marvel Contest of Champions sometimes there, and just something, you know, to keep in mind. Now finally we're going to end this with my advice. If you want to get into play Marvel Contest of Champions, if you want to jump back into the game for kind of maximum enjoyment, because I run my main account but I also run a free-to-play account, and I must admit I have so much fun on the free-to-play account. I play it super casually, and from, you know, a lot of my friends' experience as well who've gone a little bit more casual to enjoy the game, they've just kind of really enjoyed, you know, playing by a lot of these codes as well. So the first one is just play casually, progress at your own pace. Don't worry about getting caught up in the 1% rat race, because again, it's a very like grinding, whale milking, spending fiesta right at the top there. You know, rank up and play the champions that you enjoy playing. You know, it's all good to have the absolute best champions in the game, and to be fair, like a lot of the best champions are really enjoyable to play, but if you're not caught up in that rat race, then you can focus on the characters and gameplay and styles that you enjoy, and I think that's, you know, a really good way to get a good amount of fun out of the game. And also, if you don't enjoy modes of gameplay like Alliance Quest and Alliance War, just don't bother playing them, or find Alliance that has kind of a very casual attitude towards these. You know, for a lot of people it's about finding the an alliance, a group of like 29 other people that are a little bit on the same page as them, because not everybody wants to go super hard. And also use the wealth of information and educational content on YouTube whenever you're stuck. There are so many great guides for all sorts of stuff, like dork lessons, learning how to parry, evade, intercept, bait out special attacks, and if you're not too sure, you know, how to do a certain piece of content or fight a certain champion, you know, you're just a YouTube search away from probably finding out exactly the information you need. So YouTube as a resource for this game is great, because you can physically see, you know, how to fight this character and how to deal with, you know, this certain matchup or piece of content. So yeah, you know, the information's out there. If you need it, use it. Always keep in mind that this game as well has a very deep level of depth and complexity. Don't feel dumb for not knowing stuff, as there is an insane amount to know. Just keep an open mind when progressing, that there's probably a few solutions to most content that you may not be aware of yet. And again, use YouTube if you get a little bit stuck there. And also, you know, this is my personal advice. If you're somebody that wants to, you know, get stuck in, go, yeah, a little bit hardcore, play this game to a decent level, and just kind of enjoy it. So if you want to make the most of the game as a free-to-play player and start getting some sick rewards, you got to learn the basics of combat off YouTube tutorials. You've got to get the collector down in Act 5 Chapter 2, and then start attempting to 100% uncollected every month, because this is going to give you so many 5-star rank up materials, so many 5-star shards, start getting you 6-star champions as well. So that's kind of the thing to dash toward if you're looking to get the most out of the game as a free-to-play player. And the final thing is just always remember that this is a game. It's a game at the end of the day. Have fun, and if you're not having fun in this game, honestly reevaluate why those reasons may be, because some people, I've seen them just kind of like spiral out and just be grinding arena and just not having fun and having a little bit of a rubbish time. So just do the content and play the game the way that you want to enjoy it, the way that you want to play it. So yeah, just remember, it's a game, it's all for a little bit of fun at the end of the day. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my perspective on Marvel Contest of Champions 2019. I honestly think this game is so much fun to play. I have a really great time playing it. We do so much content and play so many different champions on the channel. I'm really excited for the year ahead, man. I'm such a big Marvel fan, and we've got the Captain Marvel stuff again, the Avengers Endgame stuff coming, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four. We've got a massive new story quest in Act 6. So like for me, there is so much to look forward to this year, and I'm really looking forward to it, man. I think this year's going to be absolutely smashing for Marvel Contest of Champions. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Are there any additional pros or cons or neutral stuff that you would add to this list? Anything that we've missed off? Let me know in the comments section below. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.